In the last video, we talked about the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, which is this one here. It goes from 0 and 1, then you add these up together, you get 1 here. Then you add 1 and 1, you get 2. Then you add 2 and 1, you get 3 here. Then you add 2 and 3 to get 5, and so on. Basically, you always add up the two previous numbers to get the current one. And this gives you a sequence like this. You see that the numbers increase very fast and the numbers get really large. And if you solve this using recursion, you're also going to have a ton of functions on your call stack. The issue there is that it gets repetitive, it slows down performance, and makes your program unusable. So here we basically need to calculate the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, and we need to write a function that can give us here f of n. So example, if we write 2 here, then we need to return the second number in the sequence. Here they did 1 plus 0, which is here 1 plus 0, and then they get here number 1. If you pass in 3, then you're supposed to do 1 plus 1 and you get 2. The way they're calculating is starting from 1 and then they start adding to get the answer. So if they say f of 3, then they pass 3 to the function, then you have to do f2 plus f1 and you get the answer. Like I said, I'm applying some optimization techniques here, whereby I'm solving this in constant space, auxiliary space. It doesn't matter what the value of n is, we'll always use these variables only, a, b, and c. We don't have any array that is going to grow with the size of n. This is a good way of solving it. And we are also not using recursion. So we are simply using iteration, a basic for loop, to extract the correct number from the Fibonacci sequence of numbers. So here they pass a variable of type integer. And if it's less than 2, meaning it's either this or this, then we have to return the value of n. That can be 0 or it can be 1. Then here we create our 3 variables. At first, a equals 0 and b equals 1. These correspond to these initial 2 values. C does not need to be initialized yet. Now we can loop from 2 all the way to n. So at every iteration, we're going to update the value of c, which is the 2 previous values, a plus b, for example, 0 plus 1. And then we are going to pass the value of b to a and pass the value of c to b. This is what is happening here. Example, if 0 is a and b is 1, then you add up 0 plus 1, you get 1 here. Then you update the value of a from 0 to 1 here. And b also switches to 1 here. In the next iteration, when we do 1 plus 1, c will be 2, and then we update a to be this one here, this 1, and b to be 2. Then c will become 3, and then we update the value so that a becomes 2, b becomes 3, and then c becomes 5, and so on. So we just pass the values around at every iteration, and after we are done with this for loop, we simply return the value of c. So let's run this code. We've passed the sample test case. I just want to have a custom input here. So let's say I pass the value 5 here, and I'm going to uncomment these 2 lines of code so that you understand what is going on. So now I'm running it. And you see that if the input is 5, at first a is 0, b is 1, and c is 1. Then after this iteration, these are the values. That is why you see before and after. And that's how the values get updated at every iteration until we get the final output. So imagine that I pass a larger value like 15. And now you can take a look how the values get updated. They always get passed around. So this is a very fast way of solving it. And this here is the answer. So now let's submit this. I realized that I did not remove my print statement, so it might slow down my solution. It's still very fast, 0 milliseconds, but I want to optimize it in the best way I can. So I'm just going to remove these 2 lines. And that's all the code that we need. So let's submit this again. And we still pass it with 0 milliseconds, which is pretty much the fastest way you can solve this algorithm. So that's it for this LeetCode challenge. It was called Fibonacci Number. This was LeetCode number 509. If you like my solution and you want more coding interview questions, please subscribe to my channel and I'll catch you next time.